Hey guys, it's Mia and welcome back to another episode of Teen Talk Central. In today's episode, I want to talk about procrastination and how to kind of beat it. I feel like we all know what procrastination is and maybe we've heard some ways to beat it, but I want to talk about the ways I've kind of dealt with procrastination as a high schooler who has a bunch of things to do and just also wants to live a fun and stress-free life as much as possible. So, if you don't know what procrastination is, which if you don't, you're really lucky. Procrastination is kind of the idea that you don't do something that's really important and you kind of push it off and replace it with tasks that are not as important or usually not necessary in comparison to the tasks that you actually need to do. And procrastination matters because it can create anxiety, damage our self-trust, and block out our own potential in things because you're pushing it to the side and kind of avoiding to do it. So in this episode, I want to talk about why we procrastinate, what it does to us, and most importantly, how can we beat that idea of procrastination. So I want to first talk about why we procrastinate. From what I've kind of learned and seen through people and myself, I have 4 kind of points. The first one is the fear of failure. I think we fear starting things because what if we don't do it perfectly? And that what if factor will really set you back hundreds of years because you're okay, I don't know if I can do it right now, so then why would I put myself through it if I'm going to end up failing, which is not the mentality you want to go into. You should go in with the mentality that, okay, as long as I try, I can do it. Number 2 is perfectionism. I think we all wait for that quote-unquote perfect moment to start something, but that perfect moment won't actually ever come because there's no such thing as a perfect moment. It's more of a moment that you make for yourself and you define as your best moment to start something. Third is just feeling overwhelmed. You might have a lot of tasks that you need to do, and some tasks make feel too big for you, and so your brain might say, oh, I can do this later, it's not that important, which is just not a good thing to do because then eventually your brain will start to think that nothing is important and you're just going to continue to push everything to the side. And then the last one is instant gratification. I feel instead of wanting to finish your project and you kind of get that fun boost of dopamine at the end, we rather scroll on TikTok where you're getting those immediate rewards instead of the long-term rewards. So I think learning that not everything has to be given right away to you, and instead you can kind of wait a bit longer until you finish something in order to get that instant gratification, I feel is really important. So I want to kind of give you guys a quick exercise, and we're going to be using some of this later on in the episode. So I want you to think about one task that you've been putting off for a while, and then name that really, really small step that you've been needing. And then I want you guys to remember that because we're going to use it later in this episode. Now I want to talk about what procrastination really does to us. Let me tell you. From my personal experience, it actually creates higher anxiety and stress than I feel it helps me relax because I look at the clock and it's 9 p.m. and I'm okay, I can scroll on TikTok. That turns into a 3-hour scroll and the assignment due date is over. It's gone, it's past. So it really gives me higher stress to do that than to actually just get my work done in the first place. So if you get your work done, then you can actually scroll on TikTok later as a reward. Next, it lowers our self-esteem. I think I don't know about you guys, but my TikTok recently has been a lot of my day in the life after school and stuff. And then you see so many people doing so many things after school, and then I realize oh, I'm lazy because I'm not doing that. And then you kind of continue to procrastinate because then you go into a loophole of all these other people who are doing these things. So instead, you can become one of those people by not procrastinating your own work. And then it causes missed opportunities of things that maybe you could have done. For example, if you're making a project, right? And if you actually spent the 3 weeks that the teacher gave you, you could have put in your whole potential. But then you look and then you realize that when you turn in your project because you finished in 30 minutes, 30 minutes before it was due, that you missed the whole thing of getting a better grade or doing all that other stuff. And then it makes like a constant guilt avoidance cycle. So then procrastination comes into guilt, and then you procrastinate even more, and it's just a never-ending cycle that I think we've all been through, and it's not a very good feeling. Little statistic drop for you. Chronic procrastinators are more likely to have poor sleep and higher anxiety. You want to know why? They have more poor sleep because they don't take their time to do something throughout the week, and they try to do it last minute, and then it takes them even longer to do something. And then they have higher anxiety because what they end up doing, they don't know if it's good or not, and then they're kind of going through this constant cycle again. So, how do we beat procrastination? Because I've talked about it a lot, but I haven't actually told you how. Here's how I've done it. Now, it doesn't work for everyone, I'm sure, but this is what's worked for me. I break it down. I literally have a to-do list, and I write every single thing that I need to do step by step. Breaking it into tiny tasks and manageable parts is so important. And then from there, I set tiny deadlines. Instead of having like the project is due in 1 week, I say, okay, I'll study this for this much time, and I'll finish this part of the project by this day. And that really helps me because I hate having like a project that's due in 3 weeks and I'm like, oh, I can do it later. No, do small parts so by the time you get there, you're already done with the whole thing. And then also, rewarding yourself is really important. So maybe you finish one half of the project, you can go reward yourself by hanging out with your friends that day, or I don't know, like going to the gym or whatever you want, whatever makes you feel like, oh, I did something good and it's a reward. That's what you should go do for yourself. You could go get food or something, or I don't know, like whatever you want is something that you should do as a reward for yourself, because then you'll kind of want to do things more for longer, because then you can get more rewards. And personally, I love a good reward. And then next, it's just addressing the fear. I think I've learned that no one's perfect, right? So imperfection is better than nothing at all. So even if I didn't get everything done that day, if I got some part of my project done, I know that that's okay. And I shouldn't hold that against myself for tomorrow. And then I've really worked on this. It's like the environmental design of your room or wherever you're studying or whatever you're doing really that you're procrastinating in, putting yourself in a positive mind space and like a positive workplace is really, really important. So I've really worked on like putting motivational quotes on my like bulletin board, or just like trying to minimize the amount of distractions I have is really important. And then, another thing I do that I think is, I've done this for so long, is the 2-minute rule. If there's something that takes less than 2 minutes, just do it right now. For example, you could share this podcast to people because it maybe takes you 30 seconds, right? Like something that will take you a short amount of time, why would you push it off? That it doesn't make sense. Just do it right now. And then the last thing, this doesn't just apply to procrastination, just applies to everything in general. Don't compare yourself. Beating yourself up will make you procrastinate more, because then you're going to start looking at all your own imperfection and flaws, even though everybody is perfect in their own ways. That you need to encourage yourself like you would a friend. So if you would tell your friend, oh, do this, do that for yourself, because you deserve self-love as well. So I want to go back to that exercise that I told you guys at the beginning of the episode. If you pick that one thing you've been avoiding, set the timer for 2 minutes. And you only have to work for 2 minutes, because starting off is the hardest part. So once you can do that small task that you wrote down for 2 minutes, maybe you can do it for longer, and then that is really important. Now I want to talk about one story I've had from procrastination. Recently, I procrastinated hard on prepping for this episode, actually, because I usually try to write all my outlines and scripts to be perfect because I want what I'm saying to be really valuable. But I literally wrote this outline not even 10 minutes before I started recording. And I just want to be open about that because, obviously I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm far from perfect. But I just started with a messy draft for this episode, and I'm just reading off of it right now, and it's okay. I think I've learned that procrastinating, it is really difficult when you procrastinate certain things, but also it's just, you have to remember that everyone is human and you are going to procrastinate on certain things, but it's okay. I tried to not procrastinate on schoolwork, but when it comes to something else, I might procrastinate, emailing somebody back, or, maybe making an outline for this episode. So I just want everyone to remember that everyone is human and procrastinating is normal. But trying to minimize the amount of procrastination that you do is really important. So I kind of want to let everyone know that we procrastinate as humans when we are doing something, or we know we need to do something, but we don't want to do it, and we end up pushing it farther and farther. And it's just really important to remember that you shouldn't be doing that. And if you do, try to minimize it as much as possible. And I think really writing things down, a to-do list, breaking everything down is really, really important. And procrastination does not mean you're lazy. It just means that you need to get better tools to manage fear and overwhelming. And you have those tools right now. You just have to learn how to use them effectively. So if you're really feeling unmotivated today, just try that 2-minute rule today. Start something small and then, work on it. And then if you guys feel like it really helped, then DM me or tag me and tell me how it went. Yeah. And if you guys have any other questions, please let me know. DM us on Instagram at Teen Talk Central. We're also on TikTok, Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, any platform, we're on there. And you can also find us on Linktree. You can find all our links there. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please use that 2-minute rule to share this with somebody you know or repost it on your account. And I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys for another episode. And until then, remember, procrastination does not mean you're lazy. It just means you need better time management skills. And I can definitely learn from that as well. And I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in my next episode. Bye, guys.